Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse, Semi. Training Eve to drive cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Liberty jumping to music with our horses who are our partners. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps. Training in our trail obstacles course. Sadie doing obstacles without rein control. Training miniature zebu bull Rusty to pull an implement. Semi, my 6-year-old, out here at what we call our HVD jump course. Winter prevented us from coming out here because we didn't trust the footing. So she's kind of riled up this first time this spring. And so we're going to show you what we're doing to help her get as calm and as confident about jumping over here on turf at our kind of mini cross-country jump course using stadium jumps. And we're going to show you how we can get her progressively desensitized to whatever's making her rather stiff, rather riled up. We want her to be confident, respectful, stress-free, because we know she enjoys jumping. She did last year, just before the rainy season. So that's the purpose today. We're looking to make sure the ground is safe, no gopher holes, no moisture. We do have irrigation here, so we can have year-round grass. But there's always problems with irrigation systems, you know, putting too much water here and not enough there. So we're working on that too. Ooh, she just tripped. What did she trip on? Just a uneven spot. Uneven spot. Now what do you think about that as far as safety goes? That was an uneven spot. But when you're on cross country, aren't there uneven spots all over the place?
Yeah, well, it depends on the kind of ground you're on. I mean, if you're in a field, then not as much. I mean, you don't get the same kind of terrain you get here. I mean, you get uneven spots, but you know, every place is different.
Okay, you don't call this a field?
Well, I mean, like an unfenced in, unmanaged field.
Okay.
I mean,
right.
You know, I mean, I guess you do get places like this some.
Yeah, as we go through this season and as we do some jumping, anything, I'm not a jumper, so Rosie's going to have to guide me. Anything that you feel can be improved on the ground, please let me know. Okay. Now that thing that she just jumped over and tripped, well, she didn't jump over, that's the problem. What would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah, to fix it.
There's nothing you can do, I don't think. It's not like you can go around in a field like this and find every uneven spot.
Okay, Rosie's thinking that it's just something we have to live with, that jumping on turf like this in a field that's not a golf course field, so to speak, is going to be uneven. Now, if she were watching where her feet were, you think she could avoid that kind of trip?
Maybe, but not necessarily. I mean, you know, you trip sometimes.
All right, well, that's something I'm going to give some thought to, and I'll let you know if there's any repair that I feel would be necessary here to give us maximum safety out here in the cross-country jump course that we have at what we call HVD. But even if this were all sand, 3-6 inches of sand, accidents happen. The question is, can you minimize the likelihood of accident? Can you maximize the likelihood of safety? She already looks less stiff. Does she feel less stiff?
A little bit, not very much.
A little bit.
She's still stiff in her neck.
All right. All right, and if you don't feel safe to jump today, that's fine. We just need to find out the prerequisite skills and attitudes and behaviors that we need to work on. Now, this is also a grazing area. As you see, my other Morgans are grazing. And we do have a place that we can enclose them, an in-fenced area where they can be safely enclosed. So next time maybe we'll do that. Today is really just a chance for us to see what we need to do to make it better next time. We're jumping in my flat saddle. I don't have a jumping saddle, so to speak, but at least we don't have a horn or even the front portion of my McClellan to deal with in the jump. So let's just watch Rosie now. Whoa. She rushed a little bit, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. I think last year we got her past the rushing.
Well, we certainly did, but
yeah.
It didn't happen in a day.
Right. It doesn't happen in a day. It doesn't happen in one session. Okay, but what do we do about the rushing? Well, there's probably several things that could be tried. I know one thing, according to Clinton Anderson, who did a couple programs on jumping, even though he doesn't jump a whole lot. He had an expert there. He actually, when he feels the horse rushing, he actually says, stop them, back them, circle them, and get left brain attention and a stress-free reaction, and then try again. What do you think about that technique, Rosie? Okay, Rosie said, yes, that's what we did last year. But okay, we'll do it again. But she had to try it in order to know that that prerequisite skill for jumping these stadium jumps in my so-called mini cross-country field needs to be worked on. Let's see what Rosie does next. She looks much better now. Of course, you're not jogging.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess another thing that people usually do with cross-country courses, like ones that, you know, like real ones that get used a lot, is they'll have people, you know, you walk around them periodically, and places more like here where it's actually really uneven, I mean, not just sloped, but genuinely like dips and things.
Yes.
Then, you know, you like kind of kick the hills over and fill in what bumps you can.
Right.
And you just periodically like are walking around. I mean, usually it's, you know, out in a big field, and you just kind of...
Okay, so Rosie's saying we should on foot walk around here and mark, we'll use marker paint, the areas that you can anticipate might be a problem.
Yeah.
And we have composted manure. We take our manure, collect it, and compost it. And we can put it in the dips.
Mm-hmm.
And we can do some handwork with the hills.
Yeah.
And so that we're not ruining the grass, but we are making it a safe cross-country
Right.
field.
Right.
Okay.
And I think that would be a really good thing to do. I mean, it would take, you know, a little bit of time, but not too much, just to have me or you or both of us walk around the whole place and know it a little better, because I mean, I walk out here a lot, but not with an eye to setting up a cross-country course usually. And so in doing that, we can pick some other really good places to put jumps, get a better idea of, like, you know, what lines, what diagonals are good out here, like what a good way to set things up would be.
That's what I want to do. And that was the whole purpose of today's session.
Right.
To bring out my best jumper so far. And you're my best person to jump with my best jumper and give me this advice. And I decided to make some camera footage with this advice because maybe other people are trying to do the same.
Yeah.
And so we have a plan. Yes, this is a field that's just fine for grazing, but I am showing you right now, although you may not be able to see the depth, I'm showing you kind of a pothole here in the field, right, which could very easily be filled with something that is not dangerous for a horse to graze on. Won't get slimy and slippery if it gets wet a couple times a day from our irrigation, but will ultimately, as we go through this season, make this area, which is a much larger area than my sanded arena, make this area a safe place to work, not just with Sammy, but also with my other two Morgans. All right, that's what we'll do, and we'll keep you posted on our progress in getting it done. Rosie's going to take Sammy here in our HVD pasture/jump course and see if we can do some reinless riding, as ultimately we want to be able to do reinless jumping. One small step at a time. There you go. See, Rosie's pointing. I have two white arm extensions here if she needs them. But we've trained Sammy in a smaller area to respond to Rosie's body language. You see, Rosie just asked for a right-hand turn. Now she's asking for a left-hand turn. And look at that. Shadrach Triton Semi is reinlessly riding out here in this big open space. I spoke too soon. Rosie did have to.
She's a little excited.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a worker here working on a ladder, so that distracted her. Okay. But, you know, if you're going to reinless ride, you need to get your horse to concentrate on your request. Let's see if we can do it some more. Yes. The last time we did this in my smaller arena, Rosie was doing quite well, except that we hadn't cut the weeds that were on the edge of the arena under the fence, and the grasses. And Sammy looked at those and she said, "Oh, I'm out of here." And she went and started grazing on the grasses, so we had to cut those. There you go. Look at that. That's great. We're going to do more of that. And I wish more people would do more of that. Who needs a piece of metal in a horse's mouth to make them a partner? Sure, if you're going out on the trail into unknown spaces, you know, with obstacles that are spooky, well, I wouldn't recommend reinless riding. But that is not what we're doing here. We're just asking Sammy to listen to our body language and our voice cues and our leg pressures and our rewards for the right answer. Yes. Look at that. Yes. How does Sammy know that Rosie wants a right-hand turn and now a left-hand turn? Body language. Body language. And she's such a good girl that Rosie's giving her a reward.
I just had to use a little more leg pressure, be a little bit more insistent than you have to be in the uncovered arena.
Right, what Rosie just said, in case you couldn't hear it on the camera because she doesn't have a microphone on, is that in such a large area here, she had to use a little bit more leg pressure than she did in the uncovered arena, which is a much smaller fenced area. So as soon as she realized that, she had to be a little bit more clear with her body language. Semi did beautifully, and Rosie gave her reward for the right answer. Time to take off her tack and let her graze with her herd mates. Thank you, Rosie.
Working with Semi today in the arena with our crossbar jumps. We're going to go back out to the turf jump area next week or the week after, when we've made sure that all potholes are filled with composted earth and all hills are shaved down. We just want it to be as flat as we can. So to challenge Semi today and to continue with her jumping training, maybe even with her reinless jumping training if we get to it, we're back in the arena with our crossbar jumps, and as you can see, our barrel on its side jump that we've put some crossbars next to, so that Semi is less likely to try to dodge the barrel as she approaches it. Are you feeling that she's relaxed, Rosie?
She's getting there. She's still sort of stiff. She's feeling pretty stiff in her neck. So I'm just doing some circling, trying to get her to bend laterally, which will make her bend vertically for me. I feel like everything's pretty connected. I mean, once I get her to bend laterally, it'll make her more likely to bend vertically, which makes her trot better, more collected. Good girl. I'm going to keep the rhythm of my trot, my posting, really steady, really emphasizing the tempo. Good girl. That was nice. Good girl. I have to choose each time she does something good between stopping her to let her have a reward or to keep going, because I don't want her to get in the habit of, thinking that every time she does something good, we're just going to stop. We'll never get her to do a whole course of jumps.
Very nice.
Good girl.
Very nice.
All right, now I'll give her a little break. That was great. 2 in a row.
Okay, now we've made that cavaletti set on its highest rung. Everything else is as you saw earlier. So it looks to me like the 2 big challenges left to do today, if you're up to it, Rosie, is to jump the cavaletti on its highest rung and see if you can get her to go over the barrel, which we've successfully done in the past, but it took some work, if you recall, to convince her that jumping over the barrel was going to be easy. She kept trying to avoid the barrel, and now we have those crossbars right next to the barrel to make it less of an avoidance path.
Woo! That was good. She jumped a little bit bigger, but I didn't feel like she was rushing. Now, when I'm to get her to have a really nice collected form, when I'm turning her to the left, I'm also pressing with my inside leg because I want her body to curve away at the middle, and I want her to really pick up that inside back leg, bring it farther underneath her. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. She did a few strides of canter, but that's just fine. Means it's easier to land at a canter from a bigger jump. That's just fine. Easy. Rest just a little bit there. Not too bad.
See if you can trot over or step over without her jumping it.
I think we can step over this one at least. I don't know about the trotting over. Let's see. What do you think, huh? Oh,
there's investigation, a little bit of resistance. You see, she's a little bit unsure of what you're asking. Let's see if she can understand. And I'm sure you're probably giving her leg right now. Very nice.
I was giving her leg, but in a very, very subtle way. Not touching with my heels at all.
Right.
Just my calves. And more even than my legs, pushing her forward with my seat and keeping the forward motion with my weight and keeping the forward motion at the same tempo, so trying to get her to keep a steady walk.
Okay, what do you think about warming her up to go over the barrel? And remember, you might want to walk up to the barrel and let her investigate again. Last time that's what we did, and she was real curious about it. I'm sure she sees it now out of her peripheral vision, but can she focus on it when it's right in front of her? Yes, she's checking it out, and if she tilts her head a certain way, she should be able to focus on an object in front of her. She's even biting it a little bit, tasting it. Good investigation. Real good investigation. All right, it looks to me like she said to you just now with her body language and her head position, she said, well, okay, I know what that is now. We'll see.
Easy.
Yes.
Good girl.
Yeah, it looked good to me, but did you feel any rushing?
No, not really. She was a little bit, wiggly, the stride or two before, but I just did what, the same thing that worked last time, which is to keep, pressure on both legs and both reins, the corridor idea, like, oh, can't go to the left or the right, gotta go straight ahead. And she went over it. Yeah, see, that was fun, huh?
Okay, perhaps 2 more things to do today. I'll leave that up to you. Do you want to go the other direction across the barrel? You do. Okay, then I'd like you to do, just like we did at the turf jumping area last time, just walk around with Semi here and direct her with your body language, leaving the reins on her neck.
Okay.
We won't go to jumping her with body language and no reins, not yet. But we keep wanting to explain to her that we can ask her what direction we want her to go simply by focus and body language, reinlessly.
I think this is, going back to like the 2 techniques of turning thing and the different leg pressures. I feel like she can turn really well using just leg pressure and no reins, but she never, in doing that, she's always really responsive, I mean, not always, but she's generally pretty responsive and goes where we want her to go, but she doesn't flex as well. I mean, she moves more like her whole body, like you would do in a spin and in the over the haunches movement. It's the same sort of leg cue, just on her whole side as a whole, and so she just turns like a door opening, which is not terrible. I mean, I think that's just how it's done, but it's pretty different from how we want them to turn in general. And I mean, in ring work and jumping and English, different English disciplines, and just general pleasure riding, and we want them to more curve their bodies and be flexible. Woo! I think the pole surprised her a little on the other side.
But no resistance to go over.
No, not really. I mean, she was still a little bit like, but I get, that's sort of understandable. And in a young horse, fairly young, learning to jump, to be like, well, I'm going to do these things because you're asking me, but if you weren't asking me to do them, I probably wouldn't do them on my own, which I think is sort of a natural state of mind. But she's doing them. She wasn't. Absolutely.
Much better than last time. You didn't have to preview her and get her. Other than showing her the barrel, you didn't seem to have to ask her more than lightly. All right, how about just leave those reins on her neck, and let's do some reinless riding as we learned from Clinton Anderson, the focus, the body language, the arm pointing. We have, since you last did this here in the arena, we have cut the grass that's under the fence. So we're hoping she won't go for the grass, which is what she did once or twice last time.
Good girl. Look at that nice serpentine. Not even a whole turn. Ooh, look out for that pole. Still a little bit gate inclined. That happens.
Our gate out of the arena was in front of Rosie. That's what she means.
she's not immediately turning, I'm doing a little bit, if I have to, what I did out there, which is more intense pressure, and even giving like little taps, rhythmic pressure with my heel, my calves.
What Clinton Anderson says, and I've discussed this with you before, but I listened to his program again, if your horse is avoiding something that you would like the horse to approach, then the best thing to do is to take that horse over to what they're avoiding and let them rest there. And that will make them want to go there.
Well, I don't think she's not avoiding the area.
Okay.
I think that's I haven't seen this program, but it sounds like it's more like a spooky area, like something we want to do with Eve in that corner. Or any other spooky area that any of them have. But I don't think Semi's spooking at anything or avoiding anything. She just has this slight incline to go that way, which makes sense because the horses are her stablemates are being taken across the street right now, so she can see them in the driveway.
Well, this is similar to what Clinton Anderson was experiencing with the horse that he was showing us how to do reinless riding with. Is the horse wanted to go to the barn. Mm-hmm. And so when Clinton ended up on the other side of the arena, away from the barn, the horse was starting to rush and starting to go faster than he wanted her to. So he said, okay, I'm going to take you over here and rest. And then when you're at the other side of the arena, closer to the barn, I'm going to make you work.
Yeah.
So it's, give the reward for the right answer, make the wrong answer uncomfortable concept.
There.
We do a little of this almost every time we ride our horses, because reinless riding is not something we're going to do all at once. We're just going to do it a little bit at a time. Everything that we ask of our horses, we're going to put the reins down and say, now will you do it for us, with our body language and our focus. And, well, I think Semi's done really well today. You agree, Rosie?
Yeah.
All right, and so we're going to call today's session to a close. And we'll continue to work with Semi in this wonderful spring season and show you her progress.
Good one.
www.thesocolos.com/UCC. If you click on the tab that says Semi, S-E-M-I, you will see many prior shows of us showing her what we want from her to get her to what you saw today. Shadrach Staples at Midmore Farms. Sadie and Eve. Semi. Rusty and Susie. www.thesocolos.com